Ladies and gentlemen, with me I have kettlebell coach Svetlana Daniliuk. Am I saying it right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, guys, listen, folks, listen. I have just checked out her about page, and it's a really long page. So let me just introduce a couple of things that I read about her. Now, she is a member of the Scientific Commission of World Kettlebell Sport Federation. I'm just reading some stuff that I see. She's the first woman in Russia to start competing in double kettlebell long cycle discipline. She is a professional. She has a professional certificate in nutrition and disease by the Wageningen University and Research from the Netherlands, right?
Yep.
Wow, she's a master of physical education from the Leskaft National State University of Physical Education, Sport and Health in St. Petersburg in Russia. Svetlana is a heavyweight in the kettlebell game. So Svetlana, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Listen, Svetlana, we need to get your background story. Where did you come from with kettlebells? How did you get started? And how were you able to amass all these qualifications, the study of that route that you went down to really pursue kettlebells, and where you ended up now as a kettlebell coach? Just everything. Give us everything that you have.
The story is very long, to be honest.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So before to start kettlebell sport, I practiced in fitness. But before the fitness, I used to be a office worker. I used to work in Russian railways. And yes, I graduated Transport University in St. Petersburg. Mm-hmm. And after the graduation, I spent 5 years working in this profession. I used to be an accountant, manager, but in one day, I was bored, and I decided that I want something more. Because I used to be in sport always from my childhood. I did some swimming. I did even boxing, fitness, everything. So I always was in sport. And in one day, I just decided, okay, why should I stay always in office, do this paper stuff? I want to be with people. I want to see the result of my work. And I decided that, okay, maybe I need to try to be a fitness professional, So I started from group classes. If you know, group classes, it's even
aerobic, the typical
aerobic, yeah. So I started to do this stuff.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
I teach people this, and after that I decided to, okay, it's quite difficult, to have these lessons, like 5 lessons per day, and you're just exhausted.
Yeah, most definitely.
And yes, and I think, okay, now it's next step. I need to study more about bodybuilding. And I applied to college fitness and bodybuilding. I graduated it, and I started to work as a fitness coach and doing simultaneously some CrossFit, because at that time it was popular in Russia, especially. It was like a boom, everyone did CrossFit.
Yeah, it was big.
And yes, and my favorite part in CrossFit was exercises with kettlebells. I love swings. Swings, for me, it was the best. That only I knew about kettlebells. Swing, hardstyle. That's it.
And so you got into kettlebells through CrossFit, or you've been doing it prior before you started with CrossFit?
So the first time it's CrossFit. Yeah. Oh, wow. Before the CrossFit, I didn't know about kettlebell. So. Wow. And I'm a person who just continue lifelong learning, If I know that somewhere some seminar, workshop, I love to visit that. And in one day, just I heard, okay, there is some workshop in my city with about kettlebell sport, and I said, okay. I need to visit this workshop because I like kettlebells, but I want to know more about this, what I can do with this kettlebell. So my first day, the seminar was conducted by Sergey Rachinsky, Denis Vasilyev, Alexander Khvostov. But for me,
Wow.
it was just guys,
Yeah, of
big
course.
guys
Yeah,
with
people who know kettlebells, especially kettlebell sport, are like,
yeah,
whoa, heavyweights, and you're like, well, these
okay.
are just some dudes. I'm listening.
So some
Love it.
some some three guys and
Yeah,
three
yeah.
like, and for me it was interesting because when we talk about fitness, when we talk about bodybuilding, it's a different type of people. It's more
Mm-hmm.
like different style. And
Yeah.
here just three men, Russian men. And when they just started to introduce themselves, like for instance, the Sergey, like many time Guinness
Yeah, heavyweight. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and like his achievements. Then continued Denis about his achievements.
Mm-hmm.
Then Alexander, I was, oh my god, like this is like some gods.
Yeah, yeah. These are actually heavyweights, important people.
Yes,
I should
yes,
listen. Oh, I love it. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And we had 2 days seminar workshop, we can say, even not seminar workshop. And after the first day, I like felt in love in this,
Wow.
like
Mm-hmm.
when they explain me how to use swing correct. I mean, incredible sport. Like I felt this movement,
Mm-hmm.
this flow,
Yeah.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
different. It was different that I did in CrossFit, and like
Mm-hmm.
wow, like I know like it. The next day, we just practicing long cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the day when I first time just knew about like jerk, snatch, long cycle. Before that, I knew only
Wow.
about
Just
swing.
to, yeah, just swing. And in a CrossFit setting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating.
And after the seminar, Denise came to me, I remember this, and said, Svetlana, in 2 weeks we have competition. Would you like to compete? I'm, well, I said, okay,
Yeah.
let's try,
Let's
because
go.
let's go. It was like my first time in my life. I tried these kettlebells, like long cycle,
Wow.
and I said, okay, let's try. This competition was Grand Prix White Night. It's an annual competition in my city, in St. Petersburg, conducted by VAX. And it was only 2 weeks. So I called to, after this workshop, I called Sergey Rachinsky. And he used to be the owner of the gym, Yora Fitness,
Mm-hmm.
where this seminar, where the competition was.
Mm-hmm.
And I called him and said, like, Sergey, can I have some, like, 2 or like a couple of trainings with you because I want to
Mm-hmm.
compete? He said, yeah, of course. So I came to Euro Fitness just twice, maybe, before the competition, and I'm ready.
Wow, let's go.
My first competition was like one arm only, long cycle, 10 kilo, 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I did like 130 reps, I think.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
But you I mean 2 weeks you started, so it's your first connection with kettlebell sport
Yes.
with these three exercises, right? And then
Yes.
2 weeks later you jump into a competition and
Yes.
you're actually able to pull off that many reps. Wow.
Yeah, I to be honest, of course it was technically it was awful.
Yeah.
It's just mostly competition, like
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
push to
Yeah,
push.
let's go. Yeah, yeah.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And after the first day, I don't remember who was it, but someone told me, like, Svetlana, tomorrow we have marathon competition, and half marathon, like 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Would you like to compete? And I said, yeah, why not? I like it. But so I
Wow.
chose the same 10 kilo, 30 minutes long cycle, 1 hour.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, but no one that time told me that I can switch my arms during marathon.
But
Because
and how do we understand this? If we do a marathon for 30 minutes long cycle, are you
uh-huh,
able to switch arms once or never?
in marathon, whenever you want. In marathon, if you do like 1 hour marathon or 30 minutes marathon, you can switch your arms like whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea. the idea to finish with maximum repetition, but you can change your arms. When we talk about classic lifts, we can switch our arms only one time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
The classic
so
10-minute set, right?
yes,
Yep.
classic 10-minute set. So the day before I did 1 minute, 10-minute set. Because of my first competition, like first my practice, and they said like you can change your arms only once.
Okay, okay.
So
Yeah.
I assumed that in marathon must be the same, and
Ah,
it was,
ah.
oh my god, like
Wow.
I did 15 minutes one arm, and then I switched. You can imagine how look my arms. It was
And they were like, what is she doing? But hey, let
yeah.
her go if she wants to do it. Wow, they didn't tell you.
But I couldn't look at my arms because you
Wow.
can imagine it was
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
mess.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know, but I like it. This experience.
I love this. Yeah.
Yes, and so after that competition, I started my training in Eurofitness, and after 1 week, Sergey suggested me to become a coach in this gym.
Wow.
So I had an opportunity to be coach, to have like regular fitness, and then also to have my own train. And then day by day, I just started to do only kettlebell
Wow.
sport. Yes, and I just started to prepare for competition. I started to travel, to compete, and just fitness went back side.
Hmm.
So mostly I
So
was,
yeah.
yeah,
So kettlebells was the big fascination, right?
yes,
And they must have seen some initial potential when you started lifting, right? I mean,
yeah,
if
I think
I'm
so.
just assuming. I don't think they tell everybody like, "Hey, we have a competition. Come up." Right,
Yeah,
2 weeks
yeah,
later, but they probably saw something in you.
yeah,
They
yeah,
were
I
like,
think
"Oh,
so.
she got it. Let's go."
I think
Wow,
so.
wow.
And because even after I started training, like it was invitation to be coach.
Yeah.
So after that, I even became an executive director of this gym. So I did a lot of
Wow.
stuff, and I also started to travel a lot because, as I told you in the beginning, um, long cycle, double leap long cycle, wasn't allowed in Russia, and for
Wow.
women
Wow.
until 2018. So
Oh,
yeah,
really? Four
yes,
years ago? Ah.
yes. Only 4 years ago it was officially allowed. Before, no. So, but because because I started my training with long cycle, because Sergey Rachinsky said you need to do long cycle. Okay, for me it's like
Okay.
if he said snatch. Okay, if he said jump, because
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
will do.
you trust the
I
coach. Yeah, yeah.
I trust what he
Mm-hmm.
said. I did everything what he said. So okay, long cycle, let's do. But I couldn't compete in Russia, so started to travel, competing internationally, and that where
So
am I?
so internationally it was allowed for women
Yes,
to do double
yes,
long cycle, but in
yes,
Russia it was prohibited.
yes, complete,
Wow,
yes.
wow.
So of course, women in around the world did this from the beginning when they started this.
And do you was it prohibited in
Oh,
Russia?
it was a lot of talk about this, like it's like dangerous for
Ah,
women.
okay.
It's all this stuff. But now it's not there. Even I applied to my master degree to university with research regarding double leaf long cycle, and I
Oh,
did because I had an idea to prove that it's no danger. I did different research, like we did ultrasound diagnostic, like in the beginning of sport
wow.
training, then 1 year after, and this ultrasound diagnostic didn't show nothing bad.
Wow. Wow.
So
Oh,
my master research is about long cycle discipline.
and if we can just jump on that research for a couple of minutes,
Yeah, sure.
because people always especially people who are not familiar with the rack position, right? The
Okay.
hollow
Yes.
position where you have the elbow on the iliac crest of your hip, right?
Because
And
everyone do this. putting
Yeah,
kettlebells on
they
your
have it
chest.
like this, yeah, on the chest, and they have
Yeah.
a straight back, right?
Yep.
Because that's what they have been taught. And what
Yeah.
I love is that's what I understand is I've learned this from Valery Fedorenko. He says if your anthropometrics are right, for example, you have a short torso and long legs, then you are made for the long cycle because your elbows immediately connect. You don't have to engage into a lot of flexion of your spine. You're just into it. But if you have a long torso, you have a little bit problem in the rack position, so you have to have a strong rest position in the top fixation, right? So
Yep.
that's what I learned from Valerie. But people who are not familiar with this position, right?
Okay.
And they look at the rounding of the back, and
Yeah, they think it's like some danger for your
and
back.
you've heard this as well, right? So what did your research show in that regard with the rack position? Can you elaborate a little bit on this?
Yeah, I will try. So first of all, if you have a correct rack position, right, you don't place kettlebell to your chest because in rack position you always have a distance between your chest and kettlebell. The idea is you need to stick your elbow to your pelvic bones, right?
Yes, yes.
And you need to create like a shelf between your forearm and upper arm, and you need to place kettlebell here. To do so, you needn't to push kettlebell to your chest. You need to have like a distance, and in this position no like connection with your chest, so no harm, like because the idea why it was forbidden in Russia, that you have some danger like for your chest, right? Breast, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so we need to do this, right? Okay, and about round back, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
If you have a correct rack position, the weight of kettlebell, like your pelvic bone, your feet, like in one line, it's
Yes, they're
like
straight, right? Your
yeah,
knees have to be straight. Your
yeah,
legs have to look like this. Boom, not bent. The knees are not supposed to be
yeah,
bent, right? Yep.
yeah. And doing this, you have no pressure for your lower back at all, for your back at all.
Yeah.
Because the weight just can I say spread it, I don't know how to
Distributes
explain,
itself. Yeah.
distribute it yourself from this your main joints and your like this joint, like hip joints, knee,
So the bone of the pelvic bone, right? The
yeah,
hip is carrying the brunt of the weight,
yeah,
not the
your
lower
legs,
part of your
yes.
spine. Yeah, your
So
legs carry
your
it.
legs, your legs.
Yeah.
So no pressure for your back. But of course, if you use this rack position,
If
like
you're up
pushing
here,
up here,
right?
of course. Oh yeah, absolutely. All the pressure on your back.
So
That's
yeah.
why we need to study how to use correct. If you use it, it's not only about even kettlebell sport. It's about every sport, my opinion. Every sport like might be dangerous and not dangerous. It's
Most
just a question.
definitely.
It's just question of technique. It's just a question how you use. Even you can hurt yourself even like using 8 kilo kettlebell, but doing some not right,
Yeah. Yeah.
not right stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And people even hurt themselves with everyday movements,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's so, and it's another question. I mean, how do you consider from your research rotations of, because that's what I have learned, or that's what Valery taught me. He said, when you have both belts racked,
Okay.
what people are sometimes try is, I love how he said it. He says your hip is the platform, right,
Yep.
for the weight, and you aim for the perfect shot so that the bell travels upwards in a perfect trajectory, right?
Yep.
So then he said, that's why, and I tried this and I felt like, wow, there's a difference. He said, if you start rotating the weight or the bells like this a little bit to move the weight a little bit further away from you, to really have them laying on your legs, he said that's why some athletes try this. They start rotating their forearms to create a better platform or a better opportunity for a shot. How do you see this with the rack position?
It just it's just different technique, I can say.
Okay.
So it's not like mostly it's based on your anthropological
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we are different, our body different,
Mm-hmm.
and for you, maybe for him, right, this is the best option to drive kettlebell to the overhead correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it again, oh, uh, it's the same like when some coach, for instance, teach you how to master like long cycle,
Mm-hmm.
snatch, jerk.
Mm-hmm.
One coach might explain you this way. When you study from the other coach will explain you in different way.
Mm-hmm.
And the first coach, then the second coach, they might be in the same high level. They might have the great result, identical, but they use different type of technique.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a question like this is only this way is correct and
Mm-hmm.
this way not correct. It just you just need to find your own
Yeah.
way,
And he,
your
yeah,
own technique.
and he mentioned this as well. He said he didn't say that's how you're supposed to do it. He said
Mm-hmm.
some are trying to find a better place when they
Better,
start
yeah,
rotating. Yeah. So that's
better
what he
place.
said. Yeah.
For some people, the better, like you could see, like some people have
Yeah, I
rack
saw
in
this
this
like
position.
this. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Yeah,
some
it's
people
fascinating.
overlap, some
Yep.
people just do
Yep.
this.
Mm-hmm.
It just who.
Wow.
So
Mm-hmm.
the idea is, it doesn't matter how you do this. The idea is if you can show the better result with this position, this is your
That's
position.
what counts. Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
you just okay, somebody told you that you need to do this, but you could feel that it's not fit you, why
Mm.
should you continue to do this if
Yeah.
you can see that the results not improved,
Yeah.
that it's not comfortable, convenient for you, why? So
And do you think, if we can elaborate on the differences a little bit, do you think that sometimes, yes, Coach A says something different than Coach B? I mean, that's
uh-huh.
reality. But do you also sometimes experience this, that Coach A says something that's completely the opposite, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
because differences is one thing, but the complete opposite that exists as well, where somebody
Sure.
says, no, 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 that's useless, all right?
uh okay, so if coach said this is useless, it's a question of qualification, of course. It's like
Okay.
because uh, if someone do this, maybe
Mm-hmm.
it makes some sense.
Mm-hmm.
We can't say this is completely useless.
Yeah.
If so,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yep. Mm-hmm.
yeah, if someone do it, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
From his perspective.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what we have to understand. And at the same time, differences in opposite directions. That's something that's
Yeah.
that
Well,
that's
just an
just
example. Just an
yep,
example.
yep,
Like
yep.
we know about when you do long cycle about clean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, some coaches said that you need to push on your heels, doing pull to erect position from swing, from back swing, like
Mm-hmm.
forward swing, and then you need to push to your heels, right? But the other coaches said that you need to push on your toes. So you could see when athletes do clean, you can
Yeah.
see some athletes stand on toes,
Yeah.
yep, but
Yeah.
the other stand on heels, right? Pressing on heels.
Wow.
And like one coach who teach, he's like many time like world record champion with
Wow.
the other coach the same many time world champions, like they're identical, they have the
Wow.
same
Mm-hmm.
uh, like high level achievements,
Mm-hmm.
but you could see that like works two techniques, two
Yeah.
different types,
And two different and even opposite techniques. If I push
even
from the
opposite.
heel, something different happens than if I push from the toes. And
Yeah,
I saw this. I tried this as well. It's when I see athletes jump on their toes. I'm like, what?
yeah,
But I do get it. I mean, you use additional momentum. You really use more force from your posterior chain to really push the bells out and then rack them. So I get it where they come from. And that's fascinating. And what I think, what's your take on that statement? What I think is what beginners and starters sometimes mess up is exactly this.
mm-hmm.
They they see two people that they trust, and you say it, two high level folks that they trust,
Yeah,
and they say different things.
Yeah.
And that's when people get it confused.
Yep.
So isn't it the truth that we all have to get the basics first, and once we have the basics, we can go from there and then maybe go into individual places, right?
Yep. My opinion is at the beginning you need just to try do what is more comfortable for you. I mean, of course, it must be not like it must be not wrong. I mean, not dangerous for you, but still, my opinion is that you need to try your own way. Like, maybe for the first time, coach needed to tell you like, stay on your toes, stay on your heel, just do it. Like, just give some comment like. Just bring kettlebell to your rack and let's see how is your student client, how he's doing, you know. And maybe after that you can say like, okay, now let's try this style. Okay, how you feel it's better, or now let's try that. But of course everyone has coach, I can say, his own idea still. And how it's better works for me. For me it's better works if we continue our talk about planes. For me it's better when I push on my heels, I could say, right? And before that, I stand on my toes, but when I tried the different way, I realized for me it's better because I used all my back chain, like hamstring, glutes, back to do this. Like it's like a kind of deadlift. When we do deadlift, we don't stay on our toes, right? We activate our back chain, right? And same idea with clean, activating back chain because it's stronger than like only quads. If we are talking about front chain.
So that, and wow, we coaches also have to understand that there is a difference between somebody executing the movement in a wrong pattern or somebody executing the movement in a different pattern.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So it's like different and wrong is
it's two different things, right?
Yes.
But the funny thing is, and that's what I see not only in coaching with real people, but I see it online. People always want black and white.
Yeah.
Well, Coach X said this exercise is bad. And then I say, and when they ask me, sometimes I say, well, there is a situation where this exercise might be a problem. But maybe for somebody on the other side, maybe it works for a specific type of movement or whatever their goal is.
Absolutely.
And then again, I also have some strong opinions on some exercises where I think, well, I don't think they make any sense. But hey, if you love doing them, they don't hurt you, and you're getting results. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely.
This black and white thinking is something that's not easy for, it's nuance. Nuance is that's what it is.
For most coaches, it's just a marketing. To say it's bad, look at me, I'm good.
Yeah, we have to understand this. So let's now jump a little bit from your story. I mean, then you were you traveled around the world.
Yep.
You started long cycling with double weights, with double bells. Then it was allowed in Russia. And can we just talk a little bit about the role of women in kettlebell training, or just kettlebell sport, or kettlebells in general? What was your experience?
I started, if you're even talking about coaching, I started with women. And what can I say? If you travel, it's quite interesting. If you travel around the world, it's statistically like 70% of people who lift kettlebell, it's women.
It's women.
60, 70 for sure, much more than men. You could, like.
And
I
are you
don't know
talking about
why.
kettlebells and kettlebell sport, so athletes, or are you just because the general population? I do get it. That's
General
more
population,
women.
general population,
It's-
but from general population they become athletes, kettlebell athletes. So women also, I can say the majority of athletes, the women.
Wow.
But if we are talking about the world, right? If we are talking about Russia, it's masculine. I mean, it's mostly it's men's from sport for men, because originally this sport was popular it's still like in army, in military universities, where only men, right? And women, it's only small part. to lift. So here, if you're talking about Russia, men, we can see that men are more interested in kettlebell sport. But around the world, I can say it mostly women.
Yeah, powerful.
Because they could see, because first of all, you can see the benefits for women body. It's not because what we women would love to see with our body, right? First of all, we would love to be lean.
Yeah.
We would love to be in shape all year round. We don't like to have exercising this with too heavy weight, this heavy. Oh no, it's difficult for us.
Yeah. I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. That's,
yes, I don't want to be muscular. I mean, I don't want to have muscles, big muscles, but I want to have some shaped body, right? So that's why kettlebell fit for this, because kettlebell, first of all, doing kettlebell exercises, it's like a mixed endurance, cardio, strength, it's power endurance, and you've never been like too big like a bodybuilder. Only like 20 minutes training like burn 400 calories. Do you know this? Like, have you seen about this? Like non-stop 20 minutes non-stop lifting burns 400 calories.
And are you I'm always a little bit on the fence with these numbers. Do you really think, because what I believe is, or what I see, if somebody is burning 400 calories in 20 minutes, then my assumption would be, okay, this person is doing a snatch for 20 minutes with a 20 RPM at least, really going intensively fast. And then after these 20 minutes, this person is almost dead. But do you really think that we burn that much calories? Isn't the number way smaller?
I believe in this because have you ever had this experience? Participate, I don't know, even like in marathon.
I mean, I've lived. We had one session where we did 1 hour. So we had swing, we had clean and press, we had snatch, we had clean. I think 4 exercises for 15 minutes we did, and of course it was incredible experience. It was intense.
But you don't believe that it's possible to lift so many calories, right?
Yeah, and of course, in that case, I was burning massive amounts of calories. Yeah, I do believe in a marathon setting, but because let me rephrase where I'm coming from. People walk around with this thinking that, wow, 1 hour of kettlebell training burns 500 calories, and then I'm like, yeah, but that's for people who are really, really, really skilled with it.
Yeah, I understand.
Right?
Yes.
And then people think, okay, I'm doing a couple of deadlifts, I'm doing a little bit of a press, and I burn 500 calories, right? So
no, it's different. It's different, of course.
So that's where I'm coming from.
Yep, absolutely. So yes, I'm talking about this skilled lift. It's not about like
most definitely.
It's not like you do like 5 deadlifts, like then you 5 minutes walk or have a rest. It's mostly it's fitness. It's it's a fitness, and it's more about even hardstyle. Again, the difference.
The difference where you park the weight and then you rest.
Because you can put, you can rest, and then continue. It's different. It's mostly like it's a type of training. It's just a type of training. Just instead of bar, you use kettlebell.
Yeah,
but the idea
exactly. Yeah. So in your case, so you're talking about somebody who is continuously, or how I like to use it, or how I like to phrase it, you're talking about a person who's skilled with the kettlebell, and uses the kettlebell the way it's designed to be used.
Yep. I'm talking about this. Yeah.
So and that's why women, of course, love kettlebells, because they have this mixture, right? You have endurance, you have some muscle building, but it's not that typical bodybuilding type training.
For sure.
Yeah, I get it most definitely.
And also, I can say that it's direct because kettlebells create like a community,
Yeah.
It's not only about to do some stuff in the gym. No, it's because like kettlebell world, it's, I can say, small world. Everyone knows each other. I'm from here, from Russia, knows you. You're from Switzerland, knows me. We know guys from USA, from German, from Africa, even, I don't know. Everyone knows, and it's a community. And It's interesting because you're not like in some huge world where no one knows each other. It's interesting to communicate also. It's interesting to see what other people do, how they do. It's also attract, and it's like helps to be in this routine, not just after 1 month to finish this, because
Yeah, you're in it
if
for life. Yeah.
yes, it's like for life. And I know many people that for whom kettlebell changed their life completely. They just came, started like kettlebells, and after 10 years, oh my God, this kettlebell just changed my life. Like for instance, many people had some, I know, like some difficulties maybe in life or something like that, and kettlebell like helps them
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
rechange thinking. It's like
Really?
even meditation, really. I know,
Yeah.
like kettlebell lifting
Yeah.
like a meditation,
Yeah.
like
I've just had a conversation with a juggler. His name's Colin Daring, and he's really,
yeah.
yeah. And what I love about Colin is I call him. He's the classic way of juggling is like the classical music
Like
and
we use
Colin.
in
Yes, and
in the
Colin
sense,
brings, yeah, like in a sense with Oksana Nikifor, how
but
she does it, and you're as well.
I'm a judge. I'm kettlebell juggling judge.
Oh
Yes,
wow, wow,
classic. Yes,
fascinating. Yeah, the classic stuff. Yeah,
classic.
classic.
Because
Yeah.
for classic, it's like if the kettlebell like change a little bit, like
Oh
this position, like
wow.
at
Uh-huh.
minus 0 1 point, or
Wow,
if you
fascinating.
touch your free arm the kettlebell, it's also like minus 0 4 point from your program. It's complicated.
Wow,
It's
there's a
more.
judging system. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
sure. Because 2 years ago, it became the same discipline, official discipline in Russia, like long cycle, jerk, and snatch. And here in Russia, you can also have the rank, like master of sport, have rank in
Wow.
kettlebell juggling. It's official discipline. It's just the name kettlebell sport. It's just a type of discipline now.
What? But now some things make sense because the way Colin does it, I said, Colin, you're bringing hip hop into the juggling world,
Uh-huh.
and I said, you're doing something. Yes, it's juggling, but it's completely different.
It's
You are,
freestyle. We call this freestyle.
yeah, you're creating something in a way. He's always in close proximity with the bell.
Yeah.
And what I see with the classic stuff is they have these long arches,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
yes.
he what he does is crazy. And then he said, I had a coaching session. I think he said this, if I'm paraphrasing right. He had a coaching session with a Russian guy, and the Russian guy said, well, what you're doing is not kettlebell juggling. And then that kind of gave him some bad vibes. He was like, well, now I'm going to prove to you that, what I do is juggling. But now I get it. Maybe this guy meant, or this gal meant, hey, it's not juggling in a
It's not a
classic
sport.
sense,
Yes.
on the sport level where you get
Yes.
judged,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Because in kettlebell juggling in sport, right, we have only specific exercises.
Wow.
Like, for instance, we have like helicopter cap. So only specific exercises, and only using this you can compete. You can create your program. If you use some different,
Yeah.
different
There's
like
no way to judge it.
what is it? It's not exercise from kettlebell juggling. That's why he said it's not a kettlebell juggling.
Wow.
Because
Yeah, so maybe it came from that side because I mean
For
you know
sure.
this as well. Sometimes when you create new things, and because I think the kettlebell is a tool that is still young, and we
Yeah.
can still see that we can come up with new ideas and new possibilities to train with the kettlebell. And so maybe this guy came from either from that side of the judging side, like, hey, it's not juggling because we cannot judge it, or hey, that's not juggling because you don't do it the way I do it, right? So
No. Of course,
maybe
I
two
think the
different
idea.
sides.
Yeah, the idea was it's not because he did it in different way, just because he did it not according to the kettlebell sport classic. Kettlebell juggling sport, la la la. That's because of this, not because
Wow.
he did something wrong, or because that's
Wow,
different.
it's fascinating. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's why I love these exchanges with people like you because this is so it opens the mind, the horizon, and let's now jump a little bit into this side and about women. One thing that I really want to ask is something that I'm just observing as a I would say, yeah, a casual observer, when I see women go into kettlebell sport competitions with the heavyweights.
Oh,
Do you think that women have to gain weight in order to work with for example, double 24s is the master of, right, for master
yeah.
of sport for women. Do you think that women have to gain weight to be able to lift these kinds of weights? And do you think that some women are, say, like, if you have a certain body type, you're not made for certain exercises?
Mhm.
What's your take on that?
It depends on your goals, you know. Like if you choose to be sport professional, of course, you need to live like this 24. But if you're not interested in sport, like a professional, if you just want to be fit, if you want just enjoy
And
lifting,
let's keep
it,
it in the
it
athlete. Let's keep it in that athlete side of
okay.
things. Do you think that women, if somebody, she wants to opt in for the double 24s, I want to do long cycle with the or jerk or whatever, and because that's just my observation, most women are are bigger
Yeah,
because that allows them, just from my understanding, that allows them to move those weights.
I partly yes agree. Yeah.
So what's your take on that? Yeah.
I can see there are a lot of small women who can also do it, but it's a limited number. I mean, there are only one or two girls who can do it, but for the most part, it's a bigger, like you know, because it's not only a question of technique,
Yeah.
of course, the question, but even if you have great technique, sometimes it's just very complicated uh, to do this. It's not a question even about. Not enough power sometimes, right? So yeah, I agree. Like to lift this heavy weights, you need to be bigger. It's like quite difficult. If you're talking about jerk, right? But if you're talking about snatch, it's absolutely different
Yeah. Snatch is
idea.
fascinating. It's
Because
fascinating. Yeah. It's
snatch
fascinating.
mostly because in snatch you use this pendulum momentum
Yeah.
effect, this physics,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Physics,
Just
most
using
definitely.
using your body as a counterbalance, right, to this
Yeah. Yeah.
weight.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about long cycle or jerk with double 24, it's like it's not
It's a
about
different.
it's not about counterbalance. uh,
So that's, yeah, that's the, unless maybe this the backswing part of the clean where you can
yes,
work with
that
some
body, yes,
counterbalance,
this is a
right?
body counterbalance, but
But
not for
that's the
acceleration.
only thing. Yeah, the
Yes,
rest is, yeah,
not
it's
acceleration.
yeah. And how would you classify these three exercises? Because I've read a book from the Slovenian guy. He has the same name, Gregor.
Gregor Sabachan.
Yeah, Sobochan. Yeah, most
Yeah,
definitely. I
he
read
is
a,
yes, yeah.
yeah, I read a book. I read his book, which I think is fascinating. So he kind of he gave some percentages. He says, from his point of view, if I'm paraphrasing it right, kettlebells and kettlebell sport, these three exercises, it's 60 to 70% endurance and 40 to 30% is strength.
Uh-huh.
How would you put it?
Agree.
Agree. I say.
But I would also add it about mental strength.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kettlebell sport, I would say like 40, no, maybe 40, 40, maybe even 20 for sure. Not 40, like maybe 30%. 30% is our brain.
It's mind. Yeah.
Because even if you have great endurance, if you're strong enough, but I know there are many athletes, many people just can lift, can for instance, can finish 10 minutes, can do it just because they can't struggle with this kind, not pain, but you understand what I mean,
Yeah,
to
most
resist.
definitely. Yeah.
But
If yeah,
they can to
I know what.
resist,
Yeah.
to resist this like fatigue and to resist this idea to quit and to stop, you know. Not everyone can do it,
Yeah.
you know.
I always call it like when, because I'm not an athlete, so I don't compete. I just love kettlebells and I
Yeah,
love these exercises. I love everything about the kettlebell, Turkish get up, squat, deadlift, press, everything.
yeah,
But what I really find so fascinating about the kettlebell sport exercises, snatch, jerk, long cycle, is that it's like watching ballet. There is
yeah,
so much technique involved. I mean, a deadlift is once you have the hinge and then straight back and you have some strong legs, you're good. But with a snatch, it's ballet.
coordination.
Yeah, the
coordination and a lot of
yeah,
small
everything,
movements. Yeah.
everything. So, but I've done some 10-minute sets, and what I think happens in my perspective, and I didn't take them on the platform. So, but I did one when Steve Cotter when I had to get certified. So I did double 20s, 40 jerks, and then 100 snatches, a biathlon. But my technique was I muscled it through. But
Uh-huh.
I remember it's like your brain lights up like a Christmas tree,
Yeah.
and then you have to really you really have to get over it. Especially if you miss, I remember I missed one lift, I missed one rep. He said no count, and I think it was rep 38 or something, and
Uh-huh.
I
And
almost
it's
died.
mentally, yes,
Yeah,
like,
I
oh my
almost
God.
died. It's
Yeah.
I won't be able to do it. But you really have to. Do you think this is a genetic thing, or do you think that you can train your
You can
brain
train
to?
for sure.
Right.
You can train this for sure. And I have a lot of examples from kettlebell sport, just people who came. They couldn't do like even like 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's you can train this like step by step, step by step.
Mm-hmm.
You improve your resistance
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
even people say like after this experience in kettlebell sport they become more resistant in our daily routine
Yeah, I see.
and
Oh,
this
I see this as well. Yeah.
they can do they
Yeah.
just completely look to like our daily stuff in
Most
other
definitely.
way.
You're
Yeah.
able to stay calm. I.
Yes, stay calm. That's the main idea, to stay calm, to control your emotions, to control like
Yeah.
breathing, to control what
Yeah.
you do, and
Yeah.
it really helps in our life.
And
Like,
especially the mental game.
and
I saw yesterday I had a situation where something happened and that immediately would have sparked
mhm,
rage inside me,
mhm.
but I really kept it calm. And then after 5 minutes later, I was like, wow, how did I do this? And I think it's part mental, that part being the person that you are and working on your personal development, and part of it I think really is the training aspect. If you
Yeah,
are always able, and what's your take, if you're always able to release the energy through training, your brain just works completely differently.
yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
that the case?
Yes, agree, absolutely agree. And by the way, about this, we say training. If we're talking about kettlebell juggling, for instance, oh my God, how many times you just like doing this, like every time, like you drop kettlebell, and okay, keep going, repeat again, do some flip, and again, break kettlebell, okay, keep going, and this train, for instance, even kettlebell juggling, this train you to be like calm, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's
Calm and
training.
reserved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So let's pivot into one very specific area that I am currently working on, and
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to take. Now, you mentioned fitness, bodybuilding. You
Hmm.
also did certification and education in that regard.
Yeah.
So, my my perception and my perspective as an observer and also as a trainee and as a coach is one thing. Kettlebells and bodybuilding, they are the, we can say somehow a little bit on the opposite side.
Yep.
Bodybuilding is focused on maximum hypertrophy, and kettlebells is, like we mentioned, it's strength and it's
Yeah.
cardio, it's muscle building, but not the same level. So what I'm right now developing is a course to build muscle with kettlebells, and I saw that while I was building this course and the exercise selection and the rep ranges and the sets and
Hmm.
everything, I follow all these typical guidelines from the hypertrophy world, and then I try to apply it to kettlebells.
Yeah.
And then what I see is I have to let go of the ballistics most of the time because we have to use grinds, we have to use the typical way of training. For example, if we
Hmm.
do a press, we don't drop it, but we work the yielding phase to really
Yeah.
work the muscle.
Yeah.
And so, what's your general take on somebody who says, "I want to use kettlebells to build muscle"? We build a different body, a different physique, a different
Hmm.
body. It's not bodybuilding. Is it even possible? What's your take?
Well, it's possible. Why not? You just use kettlebells like a type of equipment, and you just stick to the main methodology of bodybuilding training using kettlebell. Kettlebell, like you can use it like a weight, right? So what's different if you do like deadlift with 50 kilo bar, or if you do deadlift with double 24 kilo kettlebell? What's the difference? I mean, you can use it for
It's
sure.
weight. Yeah.
It's weight. And for instance, after the pandemic started, I just stopped use gym too often, mostly doing kettlebell, even my own training at home. And for GPP, general physical preparation, usually I used like bar before, just like, but when I started training home, I didn't have, of course, these bars, so I started to use kettlebells. And I realized that why not? Like it might be the same, like the same bodybuilding with
Yeah.
kettlebell. You just need if the idea is to build only muscles like in bodybuilding type muscles. We are not talking about kettlebell sport muscle. It's a little bit different
Yeah. So
because
that's where I want to go.
yeah,
Yeah. There is a
different
difference.
different type of muscles, because we have like white and red muscles, like quick muscles and fast muscles. And if you're talking about kettlebell, it's endurance muscles, right? It's and the different little bit structure of these muscles. And we need to train these muscles in different way using kettlebell sport exercises, right? But doing kettlebell sport exercises, you can have hypertrophy like in bodybuilding, right? So if your idea is to build muscles like bodybuilder, so in
Or
this way,
similar to,
or
yeah.
similar to, so maybe like of course you still can use like kettlebell sport exercises like snatch, but it might be like one day
Yeah. See.
per week, like a cardio session. For you, it
Yeah.
will be cardio session.
Most definitely. Yeah. So yeah.
But if you do it after your some deadlifts, push presses, kettlebell sport exercises, no, you just can't build muscles because it's different.
Yeah, and that's what we have to understand, right? So
Yeah.
we can build muscle with it, because sometimes people think, yo, you cannot. And I always, it's depending on how you use the equipment.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I also sometimes think, well, we can also use the kettlebell with exercises that, in my opinion, sometimes don't make any sense, where I'm like, you rather use a dumbbell for this, or you rather use a barbell. It's maybe the better type of equipment. But if you're only stuck with the kettlebell because that's what you have at home and you're not going to the gym or whatever, and your goal is to build muscle, and maybe you said like you also like the kettlebell sport exercises, then we could just say, hey, maybe limit the volume of the kettlebell sport exercises to a certain extent, because they build different types of muscle,
Yes,
right?
for sure.
And increase those heavy grinds, right? The press, the deadlift, and
Yeah, for sure.
that's what, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And how would you, if we pivot a little bit further, because I love what you said there, and you're so right. I see it from two perspectives. The kettlebell community is small, so a lot of people know each other, right?
Yep.
But we humans also have the tendency to be very tribal, right? So if I do it that way, and my coach told me to do it that way, and now somebody else comes up and says, well, I do it a little bit differently, and they also very successful with it, then I'm like, we human beings, at least that's my experience, tend to be like, no,
yeah.
that's my tribe, right? I know what they say, but that's my tribe. So what we have seen is, right, this tribal mentality between kettlebell sport and hardstyle, right?
Yes.
It,
It's
it
like a
does
battle.
it does exist. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I've talked to some OGs who were there when RKC started, when Pavel came up with these ideas. And Dan John, I remember where he said, we had one night, we called it, if I'm paraphrasing correctly, the Kettlebell Massacre, where some people really, or Kettlebell Wars, some people really, they completely got into each other's, or they started fighting, and then the whole thing split. And even the funny thing is, when we see, Pavel started with RKC, and then he created strong first. So there's
Uh-huh.
another split. So
Yeah.
what's your take from a kettlebell sport view
On this
on that
situation.
war? Because I believe I call myself a hybrid. I love both ideas.
Uh-huh.
So what's your take on hardstyle kettlebell sport? Yeah.
I can say that the only common thing we have between these positions is just kettlebell. Kettlebell, it's like we use kettlebell in kettlebell sport, we use kettlebell in hardstyle, but it's completely different. I mean, this is sport. Kettlebell sport is sport. What does it mean, sport? The definition of sport when you have competition. When some people compete, this is sport, right? When some people it's just a regular definition from dictionary from what is sport. If there is no competition, it's not a sport. It just so hardstyle is just type of training. And how can we compare sport and type of training? It's different thing. And for instance, in hardstyle, kettlebell used like an equipment, right? Just in kettlebell sport, it's also equipment, but in hardstyle, it's like equipment. And but even instead of kettlebell, you can use bar and do the same stuff that's promoted in hardstyle.
Yeah.
In kettlebell sport, you can take bar or I don't know, dumbbell or do the same stuff because it's like we have some regulations that in sport we need to use only kettlebell, different shape, different. It's so about my opinion, like I'm not against hardstyle. It just depends on you. What's your goal with kettlebell? Only common thing, as I said in the beginning, is kettlebell. So what you want to do with this kettlebell? You want to compete, you want to have more endurance, or maybe for you it's more important to have some activities, physical training, and to build more muscles like a bodybuilder, then use hardstyle. No one says that it's like wrong or that kettlebell sport is correct and this is wrong. It just sorry, but I even can't. It's different.
It's completely different.
It's
Yeah.
completely different. And of course, you can use both. Why not? For instance, I'm doing kettlebell sport, right? But sometimes for specific physical general physical preparation, I can use some exercise from hardstyle, like the high pull. But it's high pull. It's like high pull in hardstyle, like from
Or
the
jump
bottom.
squats. I see Dennis do this a lot, right?
Yes, me too. Yes, jump squats. Why not? So we implement. But
I
so
love this. Yeah.
we can implement hardstyle to kettlebell sport, but implement kettlebell sport to hardstyle, it will be a problem. It's no.
What do you think that is?
Why it's problem?
Yep. Because
Uh,
I do get it. We can use hardstyle elements as a GPP in kettlebell sport.
Yeah.
But the other way around, it doesn't work.
Because the idea of this program is that hardstyle, it's a type of program. It's not a sport, right? It's type of program because we don't have competition in hardstyle, right? If we don't have competition, it's not a sport. So it's type of program. And if it's in this type of program, you can see have you ever seen hardstyle promoted like 10-minute set or promoted like
No.
50 reps? The idea is like to use 10, 15, 20 maybe reps, and that's it, But it's not the idea of kettlebell sport. So how can you implement?
Yes. Now I get it. Yeah, because there's no sports. There's no regulatory body that governs. Okay, this is how we're supposed to do it. This is what with the classes, with the ranking system.
Yeah.
That it's internationally somewhat unified, right? Yet that doesn't exist. Yeah, I totally get it. And the funny thing is that I think this is such a great description. It's the reason why is the difference is because you have a regulatory body on one side
Mm-hmm.
It's a dedicated system because it is a sport just like swimming.
Yeah.
We can go for an easy swim, or if I want to jump into the pool with the Olympians, then I have to follow these rules
Yeah.
and also train like them, right, to be able to achieve it,
Yeah.
right? Fascinating.
Absolutely.
And one thing that I've also heard, and I'd like to get your, I wonder how you answer this question, is when people say, yeah, you have a beginner who
Uh-huh.
comes up to you and they want to get started with kettlebells and they just want to use it for regular activity and be fit, then what I sometimes hear is, yeah, kettlebell sport's too hardcore for them. So let's just give them the other side. What's your take on that?
The question is what the weight you use for the kettlebell weight. Why it's hard? I mean, if you're talking about kettlebell sport, now we have a lot of variety of different sport organizations, different
Yeah.
competition, where you can compete using only 8 kilo kettlebell. No one tell you use 24 kilo, you know, and even you can use 8 kilos. So why it's difficult? I mean, always like what example I give, like many, especially women, right, when they come to train for the first time, and when you give them 8 kilo kettlebell, for instance, they look at this kettlebell and say, "Oh, it might be dangerous. I might hurt
Yeah,
my
yeah,
back."
yeah.
And what I tell them is, okay, just let's take you back, women back. Let's just wait your back. And when you weigh in, it might be even 10, 15 kilo, different stuff in this bag. But you don't care that you always, every day with this bag, you grab this kettlebell with round bag. You don't
Yeah,
care
yeah,
how to.
yeah.
But here, come on, it's 8 kilo kettlebell, and we teach you how to use it correctly, right? So why dangerous? And no one tell you to use like 24. Okay, take 8 kilo, but do like 100, 200
Yeah,
reps.
and you,
If you
yeah, and you can be satisfied with it. Just leave it at
yeah,
that. 8, 12, and you're good.
enough. Of
And
course,
and
you can compete with it also.
and even now with the different regulatory bodies, right? You can
Sure.
even compete if you want to in certain
Yeah,
organizations. Yeah, I get
sure.
it. And what I also see is maybe because when I had this conversation with Dennis,
Uh-huh.
he was like, wow, so you want to use the snatch, the long cycle, and the jerk not to compete? You just want to use it for regular fitness? I was like, yeah, we sometimes do a jerk, then we do a deadlift, then we do a press.
Yeah.
And what I think, what now opens up more and more is that these kettlebell sport exercises find their way into the general population, that people
Yeah.
just do the kettlebell sport snatch, not because they want to compete,
Yeah.
because they just love the exercise,
Yeah.
right?
They love this flow, they love this movement. Why not? Yes, sure.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So, another thing that I really want to talk about, now, because it's so interesting, and that your story is the tug of war idea.
Yes.
I mean, you are, how can we
Two-wise Russian
imagine it?
champion.
Wow, so
No.
you're a Russian champion in the tug of war, right? Pulling the
Yes.
rope against somebody else.
Yes.
Right,
It's
okay. If you could
uh
elaborate a little bit on this.
this is to if you know if you read the history, it used to be an Olympic sport, and now
Wow.
yes, and now we have tug of war in federation and team in every country, and it
Wow.
also might be Olympic, and it's interestingly what happened because it's always connected with kettlebell sport. How I came there.
Wow.
Because to compete in this sport, it's very important to have a good grip because you need to grip and also endurance because this process, like when you pull the rope from one side to the other side, you need like you might spend for even 10 minutes doing this, it's like quite similar to kettlebell, just
Wow.
resistance for a long time. And what happened? It was spring, I think. We received some news that like St. Petersburg, it's my city, um, find athletes to compete in Russian championships, tug of war. And Sergei Rachinsky, he was claimed, I can say claimed, like the head of all this,
Yeah.
like a
Okay.
coach, main
Yeah.
coach.
Tug of War coach. I love
Yes,
this.
so
Yeah.
local coach.
Uh-huh.
And he just said, okay, we had only 2 weeks again. 2 weeks before the competition.
Again, 2 weeks.
Again, 2 weeks.
Hmm.
So for, or maybe three, no, 3 weeks, I think 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, we just gathered together kettlebell athletes. It was me, it was Ivan Markov, Alexander Khvostov.
Wow.
We all together just competed in this, in just
I love
we had just training, and for us it was like a fun. Like this was first competition, and for us it was like, okay, let's try to do it. Let's
that.
prepare. We
Hmm.
just had some training in
Hmm.
Eurofitness
And there
gym.
and there is a tech. Is there a technique that?
Yes,
Ah,
it's very technical, but
ah.
in that time, we just use our grip
Yeah,
and
and let's pull.
endurance.
Yeah.
Let's pull, yes, and we became a winner.
Ah, you
Yes,
won. Ah,
yes,
wow.
that's why,
Mm.
because the winner became so for instance, it was like more than 10 different teams from Russia, more maybe 20, I don't, from different part of Russia, and our St. Petersburg team, women team and mixed team, we became a winner
Wow.
just after a couple of days. But it was a team of kettlebell athletes. So
Ah,
kettlebell athletes, tug of war. So
so
we just
you were already equipped with the strength endurance, right? That
yes, we
you
have everything.
and
Yes,
the mental game. You also have this.
yes.
Ah,
So just okay. They just give out this rope. Why not? And now, this type of sport became more and more promoted, and even in Russia. By the way, Sergey is the main coach of Russian team.
wow.
And now, yes, and this sport, you can even Google. There are a lot of world championship in China. There's Korea, the strongest athletes I can tell you,
Wow.
and it's quite popular sport to be honest.
Wow. And how, so it's strength and strength
Strength.
endurance.
Yes.
Very
So
similar to the kettlebell or to
yes,
kettlebell sport.
the what we can say about kettlebell sport, like if you are kettlebell athlete, you can compete in many type of other sports. We have an example, Dmitry Davidik from Belarus. I don't know if you know this or not. He's kettlebell athlete, but having this background, having this endurance strength, he just started triathlon, and he became a winner in triathlon.
Wow.
For instance, even Ivan Denisov, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
kettlebell athlete,
Mm-hmm.
and he became a winner in row, concept row. This competition. He was a winner, like easier, just
Wow.
because having this background. And Sergei Rachinsky, for instance, he's doing now ski, like 50 kilometers every weekend. This skier, and he also like in quite good level. So the it's uh,
It's the kettlebell
kettlebell.
effect,
Yes,
right?
it's a
The if
kettlebell elite. Yeah, because doing kettlebell, if you're a kettlebell athlete, professional, or even not amateur, maybe you have this background. You have background, you have endurance, you have muscles, so you just can change easily, like the way
yeah,
new sport. And I think that kettlebell sport is a great tool for other sports, like
yeah.
even like a general physical
A
preparation.
GPP, yeah. Mm-hmm.
GPP, be it
Mm-hmm.
boxing, be it jiu-jitsu, even if I talk in martial arts, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
great. And
Mm-hmm.
I also had the students from MMA, and we used with him kettlebell exercises for his general for his
Mm-hmm.
preparation in MMA.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell about every sport. I don't know. We can use even maybe kettlebell sport in rugby, for instance.
Yeah.
Why not? To prepare athletes for,
And
because it
but
developed
yeah, it
everything that we need.
and what you're saying is the experience that we have as well. We have, and not on a professional level with athletes, but people who I remember, for example, one of our clients, she said, I used to be part of this running group,
Uh huh.
and I was always a little bit in the backfield,
Uh-huh.
and now after 1 year of kettlebells, I'm at the top.
Yeah, you can
And
say.
and yeah, because it's the kettlebell gives you this great this skill transfer into
Yeah.
so many different sports.
Yep,
That's
for
why it's
sure.
the kettlebell is such a great GPP element, most
Yep,
definitely. And
absolutely agree.
and if I may ask, on a final note, because sometimes people mix this up. GPP, your general physical
Mm-hmm.
preparation. Let's take a kettlebell sport athlete. GPP in kettlebell sport means, for example, I do some deadlifts, I
Mm-hmm.
do some squats, I do some jump squats. So I want to build my general fitness
Yep.
around the discipline that I train in,
Yep.
and the SPP, right? The
Mm-hmm.
specific physical performance
Yep.
is the snatch, the long cycle, and the jerk
Yep.
in kettlebell sport, right? So how would you how would you prepare an athlete just on a basic general level? How much is GPP
Mm-hmm.
and how much is SPP?
So usually, if we are talking about like, take for example, 1 day training, right? If you practice in long cycle, for instance, right? So you have your main part of training, long cycle, but usually it's like no more than 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, only just specific work, long cycle. Because like for me, it's very important that athletes have warm up before the main part, because the majority of people just neglect this, and
Yeah, just
consequently
boom.
they have injured. They after that they say, "Oh, kettlebell sport is bad." But come on! Like for every before every exercise, you need to prepare your body. So for me, it's very important, like for 10, even at least 10 minutes to have some warm up. Then only 10, 15 minutes in the main part, be it snatch, long cycle, jerk, doesn't matter, right? After that, it's specific physical exercises. So what does it mean? It's specific exercises that help you to improve your main lift. If we're talking about like snatch, for snatch, it's very important, for instance, to have a good grip, right? So specific physical exercise might be a swing. Also,
Yeah, Valerie said this as
yes,
well. Yeah.
yes. If you're talking about again, be it jerk, snatch, long cycle, we need to have uh, this experience to relax at the overhead position, right? So that might be a static hold, an overhead position as long as possible for maximum time. So after main part, just one or two exercises in specific exercises. So 2 or 3 sets of each exercise. And after that, general physical exercises. So after that, after a specific, you do like deadlift, squat, depends, or push press, depends what you mastering. For instance, if it's long cycle, for long cycle, it's very important to have strong legs and strong back, right? It's like our main tools. So a day when you mastering practice long cycle, it might be deadlifts, like again squat, jump squats also, because we need to have explosive power. Uh, the difference, but general physical preparation for kettlebell sport also have the specific, because you also need to adapt your muscles for high repetitive numbers. So if you're talking about deadlift, I prefer, again, it's my approach, right? I prefer to give like 20 repetitions with weight, right? Not like deadlift in powerlifting when you do like one
Heavy.
rep.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it makes sense to implement this, but it must be not like every day. Of course, we need to have this like powerlifting style 1 or 2 reps with sub-maximal weight, but it's not like every time. Most importantly for us to have high repetition. So doing deadlifts, okay, 20 reps. Doing squats, okay, for instance, 20. uh, because we need to train our muscles for this. If we're talking about kettlebell, but
So,
again, if it's only question of kettlebell sport.
and we could, because I've heard this distinction, we could say, okay, your general physical preparation could be something like, let's say, like your powerlifting example.
Uh-huh.
The idea is maybe once a week. I'm just saying something. We
Yes.
have we have a very heavy deadlift because we want to fire the neuromuscular,
Yeah, sure.
the brain up, right, with the um, um, with that approach. And then we have the SPP
Mm-hmm.
one. SPP one could be exercises. For example, you mentioned the jump squat because it is a GPP exercise, but it's geared towards the sport. So it could be SPP one or SPP2, or whatever you want to call it. And then you have SPP1 is the snatch, the long cycle, and the jerk. Because sometimes what I see, or at least from my understanding, I sometimes get it mixed up to a certain extent where like, okay, where do we even make a clear distinction between GPP and SPP? Or is it kind of like always a little bit mixed?
No, it's different. It's different because specific physical preparation, it's exercises that, as I told you previously, help you to develop specific exercise. I mean,
Yeah.
in if it's mostly about your joints maybe that you use in kettlebell lifting, it's that help you to improve very specific limited lifts, right? GPP it's for your general endurance.
but
Like it's
still but still kind of like geared toward, because that's what I'm seeing, because you said we don't just do a heavy barbell squat and
yeah,
that's it as a GPP. We do jump squats and then 20 to 50 reps, for example,
yeah,
right?
from this perspective, okay, we can say that a little bit interwoven.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, agree, okay.
yeah. Okay, oh, it's fascinating. You see it.
GPP but specific, okay, GPP with their own specific.
Yeah, see, and
Okay.
that's why I think this distinction makes sense, because I heard Pavel say this. He says the GPP, that's the one thing, right? Let's say like the power lift for the kettlebell sport athlete, and then you have the SPP one. This is the snatch, the long cycle, and the jerk, and then you have the SPP two, which for example is the jump squat with these high reps, because we still have to stay in that regard because we need those high reps, but that's very kettlebell sport specific, right?
Yeah,
So kind of makes sense to a certain extent. Yeah,
yeah.
that's fascinating. You know what I really think also is so fascinating, how you are able to travel the world and teach kettlebell sports to other people all around the world, which really speaks volume that the kettlebell, and do you see this as well? It just keeps growing
Yep,
as a training modality.
agree. Day by day, it became more and more popular. We now have more and more not even athletes, even more and more people
Yeah,
who
more and more
interested,
people.
involved in it. And it's also maybe it's also an impact of pandemic because people
Yeah,
realized
yeah,
that it's
yeah.
very convenient. You needn't spend time go somewhere. You can use only one or two bell and have your training at even home or whenever. If you go for holidays, you can take your kettlebell to your car and train at the nature, outdoor. It's convenient and it's like yeah, I think it's now become more and more popular. And if we have more and more people who take part in training, it means we have more and more, we can have, if we are talking about sport, more and more competition because many people who just started to practice with kettlebell, like some people might be interested in sport. Not everyone start to train with kettlebell. Um, like would love to continue in sport. But some people who just start to train kettlebell like for fitness, they
Yeah.
might change,
Switch into,
switch.
yeah.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the idea is the more people start interested, the more we have option for promotion for development, and it's good.
which which leads me to my final point in this wonderful conversation that I'm having with you, Svetlana, and that is it also needs more coaches, right?
For sure.
So we have a lot of coaches tuning in, especially on Spotify, and I think on the podcast as well. And I see it in the comments that more and more coaches ask questions about how can we implement, or how can I implement the
Hmm.
kettlebell as a tool, and what would be your recommendation? And it can be one statement or a couple of statements. What would be your best recommendation or your best um, advice for coaches coming up who see the value? I mean, that's if you just want to coach it for fun, that's one thing. But if you really truly see the value
Hmm.
that the kettlebell is this powerful tool that covers so many important bases of human performance, and now you want to teach it to other people, what would be your advice and your recommendation?
But first of all, you need to understand and you need to have your own practice to start
Yeah,
teach other people.
to be
So
a
if
role
you
model.
want to teach people, be it kettlebell sport, hardstyle, first of all, you need to go through the experience. You know, you need to find, if you're a coach, you need to find another coach who are a master in this or who provide education. I mean, who is professional, and you need to study from this because I'm convinced that if you want to be the best, you need to study with the best, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
first of all, you need to find a person, and after that, you can teach your clients, right? And when you start to teach your clients, my opinion, don't give too much pressure. Like
Oh, I love this.
first of
I love
all,
this.
people
Mm-hmm.
need to enjoy. You know,
Yeah.
the main idea, my opinion, the main idea, we need to be healthy. I mean, the idea of what we do with kettlebell is health.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
there are only limited number of people who do it because they're professional, but because they're
I
athletes.
see where you're coming from. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So first of all, be healthy, and kettlebells help this to be
Mm-hmm.
healthy.
Mm-hmm.
This is cardiovascular endurance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's what we need, you know, to feel good, to enjoy, and that's our goal.
What you're saying just rings a bell because I've recently heard somebody say this, and he's a scientist and a physiotherapist that jumps on a podcast next week, and he shared something with me via Instagram that really fascinated me. He said, a good coach once told me, and I think that's what you were trying to say, or that's what you're saying with the pressure, and that is if you teach an exercise to a client, just make sure they don't hurt themselves.
Yeah,
And because I always, as a coach, I always come from this level or this point of perfection, right? Oh, this is something we can improve. This we can improve. This is not good. This is what you have to work on. Blah blah blah. But then you have to really dial it down. Is that what you're saying? We have to dial it down. Say, listen. First of all, we just got to get the fundamentals right.
hmm,
Maybe some things are not perfect yet, but maybe they don't even have to be because the exercise is good. They are enjoying it. It
yeah,
doesn't hurt them, and that's totally fine.
yeah, absolutely agree. That's the idea.
100%. And we have
Hmm.
to be role models, right? We have
For
to.
sure, for
And,
sure.
and I wonder. I always come up with these questions, but I wonder. In our area, this is common that we have trainers and coaches who don't lift, who don't train, who just show, and not just
Influencer,
kettlebells, just fitness general.
influencer, fitness influencer, we
Not
can
not
say.
even not even influencers, but just people who don't even look the part. They it's just they do it for the job,
Uh-huh.
right? And I'm always like, you have to move with it. People have to see when they ask you like how do you do it? Well, we train 4 days a week, and I use this. But if people ask you how do you do it, and you're like, well, the last time I trained was 6 months ago.
Oh no, 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 no.
That's
I
yeah.
can
We
no.
have to be role models, right?
For
Yeah.
sure, for sure. It doesn't matter that you need to be world champion or whatever, but you need to be professional, and to be professional you need to go through this experience. You can't teach people something if you didn't have this experience. So if you don't do this, how you can understand other people, other person, client, if you didn't get it. Of course you need to have this experience.
Most definitely. Svetlana, I truly enjoyed your time. The conversation is very enlightening, very illuminating. And you mentioned that you're up to Switzerland maybe in a couple of months, right?
I hope so.
You hope so? So then we have to connect. We see if we really have, we must do something in the gym, at least in our part, and then see how we can set things up. But I thank you very, very much for this conversation.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it.
If you're looking for kettlebell courses that can help you lose weight, build muscle, and improve your kettlebell technique, then check out the Leberstock Academy. Let us help you discover a new perspective on kettlebell training, making it simple and easy for you to understand. Join the waiting list of your desired course now and secure your spot when it's open for enrollment. Link is in the description.